Good morning. It is Sunday, May the 17th, and we are a week closer to having the whole COVID crisis behind us. I want to give you a quick update on where we stand right now. Overall, the numbers in the United States continue to move in the right direction. This makes 3 straight weeks that we have seen the numbers continuing to decline. To try and put that in a little bit better perspective, through the month of April, the rate of new cases confirmed per day had stayed pretty level at about 30,000 a day and deaths at about 2,000 per day. For this past week, the new cases have been about 23,000 per day, with a death toll of about 1,440 per day, which represents a decrease of about 24% in new cases over a span of 3 weeks, a decrease of about 28% in deaths over that span of time. So that's encouraging news. Now, to be clearer about that, there are a lot of states that aren't seeing change. The fact of the matter is there are only a handful of states that are actually seeing a decline in numbers, but most importantly, New York is. So that represents a lot of numbers going down. There are still a few states that are seeing an increase in their numbers. Alabama happens to be one of those. The vast majority are still plateaued and not seeing any change. So overall, the news is good. And we can take comfort in knowing we are going to get past this. Some of the alarmist messages that we've been hearing of people saying, well, life's never going to return to normal, or it's never going to go back to the way that we knew it before this crisis. And the truth of the matter is, if you could just fast forward 3 or 4 years, the vast majority of things that we've known as normal, we're going to get back to. Life will return primarily to much of what it looked like before. We're just going to have to take a little bit of a long haul, a bit of a marathon mindset to get through the next year or two and to do the things that help us get past this. There are definitely encouraging signs as we look around the globe. There are countries that are demonstrating that in democracies, in modern nations, that you can get a handle on this even before there's a vaccine in place and before there are therapeutic drugs to treat it. We're seeing this in places like South Korea, Japan, and in Western democracies like in places like Italy and Germany, where things had gotten out of control, and through strict social distancing, people doing the things that they need to do, they've been able to see the numbers go down. But I want to just give you, again, a little bit better perspective about where we really stand in the United States today. Globally, the numbers are not declining. The rate of infection is going up a bit. This past week, we're seeing about 88,000 new cases per day confirmed globally. The number of deaths is not going down either. But consider for a moment that of more than 200 countries that are having to deal with this problem, that we'll just consider the last 2 days, that in the last 2 days, when we've seen 195,000 new cases confirmed, that of that number, 99,000 of the new cases over the last 2 days in the world have come from 3 countries: the United States, Brazil, and Russia. More than 50% of the new cases in the world coming from 3 countries. And of those 3, the United States is seeing as many new cases as Brazil and Russia combined. So when you think about what's going on, we have made progress in the United States. But compared to the rest of the world, we're still the hot spot, and we're not making progress at the rate of some other democracies. And so we really need to learn some lessons from them. And the fundamental lesson that we need to learn is that social distancing does work, but we're going to have to stop acting like this is such an ordeal for us to just do the basic things. If you went and visited the countries that are getting this disease under control, what you would find is people, first of all, are consistently all wearing masks. They're not going back to life as if everything's just hunky-dory and it's back to normal. People are not gathering unnecessarily. They're wearing their mask. They're keeping space between them when they're indoors, and they're avoiding those situations as much as they can. If we will follow suit, then the things that the vocal minority keeps screaming about, of getting the economy back up and running and returning to a normal way of life, those things will happen much more quickly if you and I will do the things that we can do. And quite honestly, it's time for us to start creating some positive peer pressure for people. For the vocal minority, which are grousing about how this isn't right, the government shouldn't be imposing these things on us and telling us what we're going to do and telling us how we can assemble or that we've got to wear masks, we need to take a step back and consider how little is being asked of us and how little is being put upon us. I hear this growing noise of people saying, this is America and we've got freedoms and we are having our freedoms infringed upon when the government's telling us what we can't do and that we've got to wear masks. And all this talk about how this is somehow interfering with our freedom is so misguided. Could we just pause for a moment and consider what it means to be American? We love freedom in America, but can we just remember that America isn't first and foremost about freedom? To be an American means that you believe in the rule of law. That's what defines America more than anything else. Not religion, not freedom, but the rule of law. When you commit to serve in the military, when you take the oath of office to serve in some kind of federal capacity, the thing that you declare is that you will do your part to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, the rule of law, which is designed to make sure that we enjoy the freedoms that we have, but that they are always exercised in a way with limitations and responsibilities so that the whole of society is protected. That's what the law does for us. Part of the freedoms that we enjoy are things like, we all love to talk about, the Second Amendment. Well, I love that I have the right to own weapons, but that doesn't mean that the fact that I can own guns, it doesn't give me the freedom to point them anywhere that I want to point them, or take them anywhere that I want to go, or fire them anywhere that I want to. That right comes with a responsibility to protect everyone around me. I have the right to own and operate a vehicle and have a driver's license. But that right, that freedom, doesn't mean that I can drive anywhere that I want to, at any speed that I want to, in any direction that I want to. There are always rules and limitations that come with our rights, and those rules and laws are always designed for the common good. So if we could just regain a little perspective and realize that what the government is doing in a season of crisis like this, in saying to us, you're not going to gather in these situations, and you are going to wear masks, and you are going to practice social distancing, they're not trying to take control of our lives. They're just doing what good government has always done, and that is to try and protect us as a people. And you and I have a role to play in that, because government can't fix this, but you and I can. When we go out in public, first of all, we should model what other countries who are getting on top of this thing are doing, and that is that we practice good social distancing. Don't set foot in a business or a coffee shop or a restaurant without having a mask on. Don't go up and shake hands and act like everything's okay. Do the right thing, and quite honestly, let's start actually creating some positive peer pressure, looking at people that we care about and who know us and asking them, where's your mask? Go get your mask on. And if they want to argue with you about freedom, at some point, I think it's time for us to say, shut up and put your mask on. Do your part. If we're going to get on top of this, we all have a role to play. We are going to win this thing. Given a little bit of time, we're going to get past it. But you and I can help to speed us getting there. Remember, pray like it's all up to God, but let's work like it's all up to us, and we will get through this thing together. I'm Mark Price, reminding you to stay in touch, stay safe, and wear that mask. And always remember that you are loved.